Okay, so good morning. Good morning, and I apologize. I was 1 minute late. I was here early. Okay, I was setting stuff up, but oh gosh, now I'm going all over the place. I'm setting my stuff up. Here we go. Let me get in order. So, um, probably shouldn't have it set up this way, but anyway, I was here. Okay, I'd gotten everything ready. I was looking at some stuff, and darn it, when I saw the live stream the way it was set up, I didn't like it, and so I decided to make some changes. So, how are you? It's Monday morning. My voice is a little bit iffy, and we're gonna go over everything. I want to check. I'm checking on YouTube right now to make sure we're live, and let's see if that comes up. See, it doesn't even come up. I do not like. You're not allowed to. You're not allowed to subscribe to your own channel, so you never know if you have it right, which is annoying. So I do have it right. Everything's good. I hope you can hear me. Um, gosh, what all do we talk about this morning? It's Monday morning. It's maybe 3 weeks before Christmas. Um, I've already dedicated this month to streaming every day and seeing how that goes. Uh, let's just go over the possible scenarios. Okay. One, I stream for 30 days and no one comes on the chat. Although yesterday I had a spam guy, which is the first time I had that. And apparently he wrote like 12 chats, but the YouTube algorithm just put them right into spam. I got the first one, but then the other 10 I didn't get. So we have one, we can say we've had one person come in. But like I said, what's the worst that can happen? We get zero, we spent 30 hours for 0 followers or 0 subscribers or 0 chatters or 0 viewers. That'd be bad. That'd be bad. But I mean, we're in a very specialized place. How many people do you know that are interested in real estate, residential real estate sales 24/7? I guess most real estate agents, but I don't know. Other than that, is there even an audience for me out here? I don't think you're watching because of my good looks. So you've got that issue. Then you've got what if you stream for 30 days and things show up just great? What if everybody just follows you and they're like, "Hey, that was the greatest thing I've ever seen, and I'm so glad that I found you. Thank God you streamed for 30 days straight." Now, understand, I've only streamed for. Let me see the calendar. I don't know if that's going to work. I've only streamed for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I've only done 8 days straight. Okay, so it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough. Plus, I've got Christmas in there, Christmas Day, and I've got New Year's Eve. I mean, this is a tough month to. Well, I say 30 days. I meant like a month, but we'll see how it goes. I'm enjoying it. It's just I wish we could get more people involved because I like, let the chat run the show and then I just sit back and enjoy. What are our statistics? Well, right now, if I put out a video, if I put out a live stream, I'll get maybe 1,000 impressions a day. Now, understand, I get 1,000 impressions. Other people are getting 1,000 views the minute that they upload a video. And I'm not saying that about fairness. Okay, this is not a discussion about fairness. Life isn't fair. Okay, as much as we would like it to be. When someone claims something is unfair, they're normally not the one that's winning the argument. Okay. Should we strive for fairness? Absolutely, absolutely. But is life fair? No. Anyway, so like I said, if I put out a video, if I put out a live stream, I can get about 1,000 impressions. A normal video now, I'm getting maybe 10 views. If I put out a video, streams are not even close to that, but they're an hour long and it's middle of the day and people are doing things. But for me, like I said, it's a way for people, if they ever want to find out about me, they know where I'm at. I've got plenty of stuff written down. I've got plenty of stuff on tape, so you know exactly what I'm about. Was curious what you thought about the lighting today. I added more lighting in the room. I've always thought that my videos looked cloudy. I can't prove it, but I've always felt that way. So if you think the same thing, if this is helpful, put something in the chat or not. Do whatever you'd like. So yesterday I did an impromptu stream around 1 in the afternoon, 2 in the afternoon, and that was fun. That's fun. Nobody was around, but I went over some of the stuff that I saw on my showing yesterday, or showing on Saturday morning. I don't know if I told you this. So there was a huge fish tank in this house like I've never seen before, and I'm going to post it on Facebook for sure, maybe Twitter. But it was like, I've never seen a fish tank this amazing. It wasn't the tank size that was amazing. It was the apparatus to run the tank. It was all wired inside the base of the tank, and then it ran down into the basement. And the people they were to the point where they could microscopically, they had a microscope downstairs. They could look at the water or whatever's in the water. They could change the combinations of salt and the water to make it perfect with these big tanks. And I don't know what else they could do. It was just amazing. I've never seen anything like it. And at 44 years old, I think some of the things that are most interesting is I'm not jealous. So you're not going to see me go run out and spend probably more than $5,000 or $6,000 for a fish tank setup, just so I can be like those people. But I have an appreciation for what they were able to do. I got to hit a button. I'm sorry, I'm a little bit late on this. There we go. Bam. Okay. So other than that, the house was remodeled. The house in the back had what I hope to be barbecue sauce on the back door. So pro tip, if you're going to put if you're going to show your house, please make sure that you wash off the door if there's any blood on the back door. It kind of makes it like you don't want to you don't want to really buy the house. It's bad for showings. And I'll clip that out because I think that was fantastic. Hopefully I can make a short out of that. I'll do it again because, why not? So pro tip, if you're showing a house, if you've got your house up for sale, try not to have blood on the back door. It makes it so that the buyers may not be as interested as they should be. Okay, so now I did that. I don't even know if I'll post it as a short. The YouTube shorts, everything I do on YouTube is problematic. Okay, so what do you want to do? What do you want to do with YouTube? Well, I want to get my story out. I want to get my personality out. I want people to know who I am before they call me, so that they're not surprised by me. I don't like awkward conversations with people I don't know. So I'd hope that you get to learn me a little bit, or get to learn about me from my videos. And then when we talk, we're good. Plus, I like the idea of the chat. I love the idea of the internet, always have, the idea of this collective intelligence. So if I have a subscriber that knows everything about cameras, well, that's great because I don't know everything about cameras. If I have a subscriber that knows everything about editing, well, that's great. I don't know everything about editing. If I have a subscriber that knows about, social media marketing, well, I do market on social media, but I'm not the best at it. There's always something for the internet that's better. There's always people out there that know more than I do. Now, that's true even in my own field. Am I the most knowledgeable real estate agent in the United States? No, not even close. Not even close. Do I want to be? No. It's the same thing as like, you're never going to be the most, there's one person that's the richest man in the world. Okay, the rest of us are just, below that. And so anyway, that's the goal of the chats. That's the goal of my videos, is just to get to know more stuff. So in this case where we had the fish tank, well, that's included. There's also a wood shop at this place. So in the basement, so they had a full, bandsaws, router table. It was fantastic. And if my buyers would have put in an offer, I would have been okay with that. And if they didn't, I would have been okay with that too. They didn't put an offer. this is stuff that I ponder. So does age matter when you're showing houses? So these people were in their 50s. So they don't get tricked by the, like, oh, your house, if you don't put an offer by tomorrow, the house is going to be gone. And they say, okay, then it's gone. Younger people would be like, oh my God, we got to make a decision. It's going to be terrible. I would like to mention, husband and wives are fascinating couples. Let's just say couples, because sometimes it's not husband and wife, in the traditional sense. It's fascinating to watch people, go through the process of buying a home. I'm not big on the idea of like dominant personalities in relationships or anything like that. I don't care so much about that. I when I talk to people, I just put like an equal weight on a relationship, and then somebody feels strongly they don't want to put an offer in on a house, and that pretty much means it's not going to happen. I don't normally see one person protesting. I mean, when they do actually decide to put an offer in on a house, it's, even if one person's not 100% jazzed about it, they're okay enough about it that they'll go along with it, and then they won't feel terrible if they did get a new house. So it's fascinating to watch how that works, and I don't do anything to try and cause issues. I like to let people know what's going on. Like, hey, this is when the offers are due, and this is, and if there's not something like that where the offers are due, I say, well, why don't you sleep on it, and we'll work on it tomorrow. Now, some people don't need they don't need a night to think about it. They're going to buy it. They want to buy it right now. Other people like to ponder. I've always, how do I say this? When we're writing a contract on a house, writing an offer to purchase, I want the buyers to be content and positive that they want to buy this house. Because the moment we write, if we get it accepted, it's going to cost, probably $500 for an inspection, all kinds of emotional, ups and downs. And I want them to be certain that that's the house they want. And then I want them to have the thought that, this is the house we want, unless we see something in the inspection that makes us uncomfortable with the price that we've agreed to. I don't know if you're not in the business on the seller side, maybe you find that to be irritating. Like, hey, we agreed to a price. Now you found something and we want me to give you less money, or you want to give us less money for the house. Well, the way I look at it is serious things. Now, is the inspector going to find everything wrong with the house? No. Did you worry about that? No, don't worry about it. It's okay. It's okay. It'll work out. If someone's being, like, I've always approached things like, if someone's going to be dishonest, they're going to be dishonest. It's if someone's a criminal, they're a criminal. Like, no matter what I do, they're acting in a way that's not, not good, not ethical. But it's not for me, I just assume people aren't going to be ethical anyway. So I don't know. I feel bad that we didn't put an offer on the house, but more houses come this week. I've been shaking. I'm sorry about that. I'm shaking my leg, and it's shaking the desk, and shaking the camera. I'll stop. I told myself today that I'm not going to take apart pens. I took apart a pen yesterday, like 4 times, and put it back together. Like, you can't see, like, here's my hands. I don't know why you can't see this hand. So there you go. There's my hands. But then I can do all kinds of stuff on my desk. So I have like a pen that I was taking apart and putting back together yesterday. Well, it turns out that when I took the pen apart, I didn't put it together right. So when I went to write this morning, it didn't work. A little collar, one side's bigger than the other. So I told myself I wasn't going to play with the pens today. So then I started shaking my leg, but I'm not going to do that now. So I'm all over the place. Something I wanted to talk about yesterday that I wanted to follow up on is this idea that we search for things on YouTube, and is this search that we're looking? I mean, not that YouTube doesn't, not that Google or YouTube doesn't get it perfect. That's not my question. It's this idea that there are these words that become part of the language that all of a sudden people search for, and then, like, for instance, iBuying. iBuying didn't exist 10 years ago. So if I talk about iBuying, for some reason, Google thinks I know something about it. I know a little bit about it. And then all of a sudden it makes me, an expert in iBuying. Okay. There's other words out there. There's like, if you've got a teenager or something, they'll talk to you and you'll think they're speaking a different language. So those words will be big on TikTok. Musical performers, or I always I'm just dating myself, but I just want to go over it, because if I put it out there, maybe somebody understands. When I was a kid, you could buy a CD or a tape or a record of somebody. Okay. And CDs you couldn't really buy until I got a little bit older. They were $13 for the most part, for like one, and it'd be like 12 songs, be an hour of music. And then there was Napster, and you could steal all the music you wanted to. So that, for me, like, once you could steal all the music, there was no point in really buying stuff. I don't even know. I guess, okay. So then after that was over. I was done. And then Napster shut down. And then there was still some space between there and Apple iTunes, or Apple iPod, I think was the first one. Well, I mean, like, these MP3 players, basically. So you could buy songs for like 99 cents or have a subscription to something. And that's where that went. But, I didn't know that it was all gone. And so when I started, looking at YouTube a little bit more closely, you'd see these new artists that they'd get like 100 million views on things. So kind of like, wow, people go to YouTube now to watch videos and see their performances and stuff like that. It's a very competitive category. Let's talk about that. So on YouTube, it's a very strange place to me. Like, I'm one person. Okay. I make all my videos. So some say that's a good thing. Some say, they're terrible, so maybe you shouldn't. But it's just me. Okay. Now, if I were doing really well, if I had a lot of money coming in from my videos, which no money's coming in, I would hire an editor, probably. But I'd also end up changing the format of the show a little bit. And I really want it to be live. I really want you to see what I see. And if I make a mistake, I want you to know it, because there's this desire that I have to be real. I don't want, like, to me, real estate is very, very fake industry, and I don't like it. And so I want to be real to you. But anyway, so let's just, so you've got me, and then you can have like people that have, editors and cameramen, and you can do full on shows. And then you have, these videos, and then you have like content kind of machines, like that One Child's, like the third highest subscriber base on YouTube is this organization that just puts out baby music left and right. Baby Shark, they're behind that one. So it's weird, like, how you fit in YouTube. Weird to me. And right now I don't fit in. And so you kind of have to ask yourself, who is your ideal audience? For me, it's people that, have an interest in real estate, and have an interest in, they read something about something and they want to have a different opinion, or they want to have an opinion to balance theirs against. I don't know that like a typical home buyer or home seller is going to be my audience. And I some of me thinks that a real estate agent or brokerage would be my best audience, but I don't particularly like I just don't like the whole brokerage agent thing. I don't have a problem with another agent. I don't like to lie and be like, oh, you're really great, like 3 states away and I've never met you. I have no idea if you do good business or not. And then we talk about the last thing is, well, you know, if you don't have a natural audience, this is what happens. And yeah, it's what happened. I don't have an audience. There's no one that's looking for the content that I provide. Now, is that going to stay true? I don't know. But I'd like to think that we can change things up over time, as things progress. I saw a guy yesterday on YouTube. He's starting a Patreon page so that he can do more than the videos that he's currently doing. And I'm not interested in the Patreon page. I'm not interested in anything. If you give me money on the stream, it's just going to go to build my business, online or offline. Wherever it makes most sense to put the most amount of capital, or that's where I'm going to put it. Most of the time, it's not in my back pocket because all I do, to stay in business, I'll have good months and bad. So I end up just putting a lot of money in savings, and so when things get rough, I've got money, and that's how I've done it. That's how I've stayed in business. I want to make sure my ringer's off. I'm expecting a call today, but haven't gotten it yet. So anyway, if you were to look for real estate commentary online on YouTube, where would you go? Well, I think you should come to me. So, my elevator speech should be something along the lines, and I'm making this up as I go. I was working on it yesterday. My name is John Schenk. I'm the founder and managing broker of Deerwood Realty in St. Louis, Missouri. We help buyers buy the homes of their dreams. We help sellers sell their homes so they can buy the home of their dreams. And that's what we do every day. We also have our podcast, Deerwood Realty and Friends, where we talk about real estate topics all across the board, mostly residential, sometimes commercial. It just depends. Then I am a real estate commentator. That's kind of where I'm at now on YouTube. I talk about the things that are going on in real estate. Now, do I talk about all the things? No, I don't really like to talk about murder. If there's something that I'm not 100% familiar with, I won't talk about it. But I like to give my perspective, and so that would make me an opinion or commentary person on YouTube. Am I a YouTuber? Sure, I'll be a YouTuber. But that's what I do. Why should you listen to me, or why should you watch my stuff? Because I think that you'll get some insight into the business, and I think it will help you as you go along your path of either buying or selling a home. So that's what I would say. And then stay for the entertainment. Look, I didn't go to school to be a radio DJ. I didn't go to school to be a YouTuber. It's all new to me. It's all on the fly. And do I get better over time? I don't know. I think I am getting better, because it used to be whenever the camera would turn on, I was so scared I couldn't even talk. And then when I could talk, I couldn't put thoughts together. And now I can. I can't memorize things, but I haven't ever been able to memorize anything. So like the show, I have to type out. I don't type out the exact words. I just type out themes. And, that's where we're at. So 20 minutes in, let's go over some of the articles today. And we'll just go from there. So here we go. Emerging tech, AI and 5G will be game changers for real estate. Let me go over to the thing. So what does that mean? So do I have 5G on my phone? I have 5G on one of my phones. What about this AI? Okay. I don't know. This is written by someone named Liz Dominguez, and I've got the link in the description. It was written on the 2nd. It's the 6th. It took me a while to get to it. Okay. says technology is playing an increasingly important role in real estate, supplementing agent and broker efforts to build relationship and provide value to home buyers, sellers, and investors. Okay, so that's the premise of the article. I'll tell you, to me, I have not seen an increase in the use of technology in 2021. Everything that we're doing, we could have done in 2020 or 2019. I think I got my last iPhone. Gosh, it's a 6 or 7. That was like 4 years ago. I'm still okay with it. It still works. I need to get a new phone, but it's not going to be till next year. So that's what it says. So let's see if we can go further on that. Says, while the last decade had seen significant tech growth, industry experts address the future of its applications in real estate at the National Association of Realtors Expo. And then it says the consensus, there are myriad opportunities as the world becomes 5G enabled, artificial intelligence continues to evolving, and businesses embrace streamlined tech ecosystems. So that seems like a lot of jargon. Okay. And then it's going to go over like there was a little session. And so that it featured panelists. One guy, his name is Weissman. He's the director of emerging technologies in the National Association of Realtors. Then there's a director of strategy and innovation at the National Association of Realtors. And then there's a director of emerging technology, written twice. So we have 2 directors of emerging technology based on this article. So Weissman told the audience that $25 billion is being invested in prop tech annually across the globe, with $10 billion of that in the U.S. alone. Says there are no signs of real estate tech investment slowing down. We expect technology to continue to play a critical role in the growth of the industry. Well, now here's my complaint about that. We were selling and buying houses in the 1980s with no technology. Okay, so the industry is what it is. I mean, that's, there's only so many houses that are going to be bought or sold in a year. Now they may go up, they may go down, but the industry, is always the same. And then it says right now the role of technology in real estate has largely been consolidation, streamlining several processes into one platform that saves time and incentivizes productivity. Now, when I was starting at this one brokerage, I was very passionate about connecting my CRM, my customer relationship manager, with operations and have it all in one place. Maybe the technology wasn't there yet. Okay. And I tried, then when I started my brokerage, I tried a bunch of them and the costs were ridiculous. So like one of them was $90 a month. And you say, well, you can save all that. Look at all that saving you can do. And it's like, well, no, I really can't, because it's just me and another agent, and $90 a month is not helpful for us. And so we didn't do the volume that we needed to make it worthwhile. So I ditched it. If I were in a brokerage, it's kind of fascinating. If I had a franchise brokerage, they normally supply a back end now. By supply, you're probably paying for it in one way or another, but there's so realty executives will have their own back end. Okay. And if you're a franchisee, you'll be able to tap into that back end. Same thing with Keller Williams, same thing with everybody else. Now, if you're independent, we also can buy back end systems. So I disagree with that. Let's put forth a different premise and say right now the role of technology in real estate has largely been to try and get rid of or remove real estate agents from the process, thereby allowing tech companies to profit off of the industry without agents being a part of it. So let's talk about Zillow. So Zillow came out with their wonderful ability to search everywhere. Now, then they say, oh, we're just helping out agents. So agents would pay money for real estate leads. Then that wasn't good enough. They wanted more of the pie. So they decided that they were going to buy homes in an iBuying situation. They were going to buy homes, they were going to fix them up, and they were going to sell them, and they were going to make all this money. Well, after last quarter's losses of $430 million in a quarter, they decided that maybe that's not the best way they could be spending their time. But what they've done is teed off the agents that they relied upon to make a good amount of money. At least by teed off, I mean myself. Like I won't have anything to do with them. I do have a profile, but I mean, you should always have a profile, because if you don't have a profile on Zillow, they don't even acknowledge your listing. So anyway, that was technology. Then there's other iBuying programs. There's OfferPad, Open Door, and then Redfin's got its own, and so does Coldwell Banker. There's probably 15 other more, but the point is it's all about how can we get rid of the agent? How can we make the transactions cheaper for the consumer, and how can we get agents out of it? So that's where the technology in real estate's really, really going. And this idea that that it's not, and we're gonna go the way of the dodo if we don't really figure out that as real estate agents we're in charge, and we should be unified in our fight to continue to be allowed to represent buyers and sellers, and not let tech companies come in and basically don't have a real estate license, or don't get near the scrutiny that a brokerage does. And then by the time they do get that scrutiny, they're big enough that they can lobby and change the rules to benefit them. Anyway, it says, we're starting to see larger companies come in and invest, purchase, or bring into their ecosystem platforms to leverage that technology on behalf of other products. So yes. So like Keller Williams' back end, it has a lead generation system. Okay. So yeah, that makes sense. And then it says the technology spans across multiple uses for CRMs, marketing, document management, lead generation, e-signature, title, and more, he said. So that's true too. So CRM's now the marketing. So you can get say Boomtown, and somehow they worked out a deal with Google and Facebook that they can run real estate ads better than you could if you were trying to do it. So like if I try to run a Facebook ad, it's a real estate ad, and so it's got special scrutiny. I know not to discriminate against, fair housing and all this stuff, but they don't care. They put their own layer on it as an independent. Now they won't do that when you're part of a business. So if I pay Boomtown money, they will be able to market to zip codes where I can't, when I can only do location based, they can. So that's, so they've got themselves an in that I don't have. Document management is important. I think that if you're not using .loop, or we use DocuSign, that's kind of where we're at. I don't know. They used to have rooms in DocuSign. I don't know if they got rid of them or not. I haven't been paying attention. But if they still do have the rooms, that's pretty much all I need. The key focus is on technology that brings time savings, improves business efficiency, and helps you do more business. Adding that the space has a few main players who are standing out right now in terms of tech consolidation: CoStar, Homes.com, and HomeSnap, and then Apartments.com, among others. But so I agree with that, but I've always been a little suspect about time savings, for example. So what app is going to save me time? Showing Time? Well, Showing Time is now owned by Zillow. I'm sorry, I got a text. Can't text and be on the camera. So Zillow bought Showing Time. It's how we show property. It's how we set up showings. There's talk and rumors about Zillow turning that into a consumer-based platform and just ditching the agents altogether. So somebody could list their house, and then they have Showing Time on their phone. If a buyer wants to go see their house unrepresented, they can just go ahead and put it in there and then go see the house. Now, there's a tremendous amount of, in my opinion, security issues with regards to that. So you're going to have all these people you don't know come through your house. They're going to leave their name and their phone number or their email address. So you'll know who they are, and you may have cameras in your house in case something bad happens. But how do you guard against the people that can't buy the house in the first place? And the looky-loos. Your neighbor wants to go see the house, so they just type it in and they go. It's going to be dicey. CoStar owns the entire commercial real estate market as far as listings. They have more cash than they know what to do with. So yes, they're playing around. I think they're playing around in the home buying section. Homes.com I don't understand, and HomeSnap is another one I just don't understand. Then the quote says, consolidation will continue to benefit the agent, brokerage, and brands by reducing costs and lower the barrier to entry while driving innovation. We will also see an improvement in efficiency as consolidation will allow agents to work within product, service, and technology that will be able to talk to each other. What do you think they're going to say? if their job is chief officer of innovation and technology for the National Association of Realtors, do you really think they're going to say, hey, this stuff might be bad for you? They're not. It's never going to happen. That's it's hilarious to me. So it says, you know, there's no barrier to entry. I mean, really, money, but they're not going to fix the money part. In fact, you're going to still have to pay for stuff. So anyway, this year it says the industry focused heavily on the Internet of Things, as well as big data, blockchain, and drones. As far as emerging technology, however, the fellow Conroy emphasized we should be focusing on two things: 5G and artificial intelligence. So let's talk about this blockchain. I had a guy call me maybe a couple months back, and he said, "Hey, you're going to go out of business because we have blockchain and we don't need you." I said, "Okay." I don't know how things are going to go down the road. I really don't. I don't know if we'll go the way of the travel agent. I don't know if we'll go the way of the typewriter repair person. But I do know that I have no issue with blockchain. Big data, we use big data right now. If someone dies, there's these companies that sell you leads based on someone died or they've been in their house 5.7 years, so they should be thinking about moving. They got married, they had kids. They take all that information, that's big data, and they put it into as much of as an address. So, or as little as an address. Now, drone footage is one of those things. Like, do you like to start off with your listings as, the roof of the house? I don't, but that's what a drone does, so great. Okay, so then let's continue. Artificial intelligence has the potential to make the potential to make agents more productive and close more business, and 5G has the potential to change how we choose where and how we live. Okay, AI is already used across the industry, performing the heavy lifting behind the scenes for essential real estate processes like property valuations, contact management, remodel estimates, and more. But there's room for even more growth in the space. Now, I cannot tell you anything about AI as far as contact management or remodeling estimates. For property valuations, I think that Zillow has proven that going by their own estimates will put you out of business and make you lose money. AI is outpacing other technologies tenfold. Over the course of 2 or 3 years, we will delve into machine learning, predictive analytics, and computer vision. We've already gotten predictive analytics. On the edge of innovation are platforms that use AI to identify consumers who are on the fringe of mortgage and homeownership readiness. And if these technologies combine with the speed of 5G, the opportunities will be endless, helping to bridge the tech gap in rural areas where current coverage is slim to non-existent. I mean, tell me where it's going to help my business. And that's all I want. That's all I want. How much is it going to change my business? What's going to happen to my business? How can I make more money? How can I get going? That's what I want to know. All right. Well, so that's great. That's a nice article. What do we got? We got some more time. Let's go to a different article, okay? So that's like an overview of the future. So then let's get a little bit closer. Here's what we got. How much house can you reasonably afford? That's a good question. Like, how much house can you afford? There's a term called house poor, and it's something you should absolutely want to avoid. Yes, I've seen people that are house poor. I try to do my best to not how do I say it? I try to do my best to not have any of my buyers ever be house poor. And so then it gives you definition. When you hear someone say that they're house poor, it means they're spending a significant portion of their income on all things related to housing. This can include their mortgage payments, but also maintenance, utilities, insurance, and taxes. When you're house poor, you can't afford the many other things, and certainly not extras like vacations. I can not afford a vacation right now, and I'm not house poor. Being smart when you buy a home and knowing what you can realistically afford can help you avoid being house poor. That's true. Having an agent that gives a damn about you as a person would also go a long way in keeping you from becoming house poor. Then let's say there's a few mistakes that increase the likelihood they may feel house poor. That's true. One is simply being overly ambitious during the home buying process and taking on a loan that's too big. I think that's the number one issue. um, One of the weird things that's going on in the market today is people aren't used to not getting what they want. Okay. They're used to their whole lives just working out perfectly for them, which is amazing because mine hasn't ever worked out perfect for me. But anyway, so when they want to buy a house, and they say, I want to buy this house. Okay. Well, then they're going to get that house. Say, well, how are they going to get that house? Well, they're going to pay more than anybody else for it. And so, in my opinion, real estate agents are playing on that to get the prices even higher because no one likes to lose out on a house. Some of these people have been told that competition is the only thing in life, and so they're just competing all the time. You know, they've got the best agent, they've got the best car, they've got the best house, they're just always competing. So whenever they lose out, it's like, oh my God. But they will take on a loan that's too big just to show how great they are and how wonderful their life is. Another big mistake is thinking about only the mortgage payments and not anticipating other expenses that go into home ownership. That's exactly right. And how I would frame that is in this way. Let's assume you see a house and it's perfectly fixed up and it's remodeled, and all you have to do is turnkey. You literally walk in the house and it's got everything you've ever wanted. And for the next 20 years, you don't do anything with the house because it's perfect. Okay. And that's a good purchase. Okay. But contrast that with the house that you buy for the same price as the one that's perfectly fixed up. And now you redo the kitchen, you redo the bathrooms, you put on an addition, you change the landscaping. All of a sudden, you're not in a good situation. Okay. You've bought a house that takes too much work. And that's what I try to show my buyers is, look, if we're going to pay a premium, the house better be in good enough shape that you never have to do anything with it. Or you do things because you want to, but not because you're kind of forced to over time. Like the bathroom is so bad, it's embarrassing. Or the kitchen is so bad, it's embarrassing. It says the following are ways to get a home you can reasonably afford and lower your risk of being house poor. Crunch the numbers. Yes. You should be talking to your mortgage professional about this. Outline all the housing costs, which include down payment, property taxes, homeowners insurance, and utilities and maintenance. Okay. Figure out what the house payment is too. Okay. Then it says follow the 28 to 36% rule. Many financial professionals advise that you spend no more than 28% of your gross monthly income on your housing expenses. You should also plan to spend no more than 36% on your total debt, including not just your home, but your credit cards, car loans, and student loans. That's nice. One of my buyers said something to me one time that he had heard on the radio, and it's kept in my mind since then. He was listening to a guru on television or on the radio, and they said that a guy called in and said, you know, I don't know, I can't afford this house or something like that. And the radio fellow said, look, you have an income problem. You don't have an expense problem. And, that's true sometimes. Sometimes you just need to have more income. You can do the best. I mean, you can manage, better than anyone else on your expenses. But if you're stuck with no income, you're really in a bad spot. So some of the affordability considerations, it says how much savings have you set aside? Do you want to have a reserve of cash in case something happens? And if your down payment or mortgage costs are going to dip into your savings, it's problematic. Your mortgage may also affect how much you can set aside in savings or retirement. So this is something to think about. I think that's true. How much of a down payment can you afford? The traditional wisdom is that you put 20% down, but there are loans with options to put as little as 3% down. That's going to raise your payment, however. I have not seen somebody put down 20% in a long time. And it says, is there a different type of mortgage outside of a traditional bank loan that you might qualify for? For example, FHA loans are backed by the Federal Housing Administration. You may qualify with a lower credit score and down payment compared to a traditional loan. Well, that's, again, part of you should have a good mortgage person that you're working with. And they should be looking at these things. That mortgage person should just be like your real estate agent. They're looking out for your best interests, not their own. So how does that work? Well, what if you go to a mortgage fellow or woman and they're not looking out for you, and if they give you this certain mortgage, they make more money than if they give you another mortgage? Well, that's not a good person to be with. How do you know if they're doing that? Well, you might want to talk to, your real estate agent, and you might want to, they probably know what's going on a little bit more than you do. So maybe ask them if they know anybody that can get you where you need to go. I know a lot about the fees because what happens on the closing is I see all the lender fees are put out there. And I'm telling you, there can be a difference of thousands of dollars on the same loan, depending on what fees are charged. So keep that in mind. It says take steps to get a competitive interest rate. This is a fascinating issue to me because if people go just by rates, it's normally problematic. I know that sounds weird, but what happens if, let's say that you can get a mortgage for 3%, okay, and there's $1,000 in fees, and what happens then if you go somewhere else and the mortgage is 2.8%, but there's $4,000 in fees? Should you have gone with the competitive interest rate? So it says, before you buy a home, look at your credit report and clean it up if necessary. A lot of times I work with lenders and they'll help with that. They need that. They need to know what can fix a credit score so that they can, get you into a mortgage that will work out for you. When it says err on the side of caution, when you start looking at homes, you should always err on the side of caution. Keep your house hunt focused on the lower end of what you can technically afford. I agree with that. I agree. If you're a first-time home buyer, it can be tempting to want to go all in with the belief you're buying your forever home. Your life can change over the years, and your first home is probably not your forever home. Focus on a starter home. I don't think starter homes exist anymore. That works for your current needs to protect yourself from being house poor. You can't just think about your current income either. Think about what might happen if you lose your job or your partner lost their income. How would that change the equation? Finally, one option that can help you better stay within your budget is a fixer-upper. You can find a great deal, and then you have the option to gradually create the home of your dreams as your budget allows, rather than having to go all in right away. Well, let's talk about that. I feel like I know about that. Let's go a couple different directions with this. Number one, is it easy to find a fixer-upper for a good price? No, not. Why is that? Well, investors want to buy fixer-uppers every day of the week because they want to flip them. So you're fighting with investors who are more complicated, more experienced in the home buying process than you are. You say, well, John, I found this house over here. It's a complete disaster. And it's not, they're not asking too much for it. Well, think about that. If you remember, investors are sitting on their computers all day long. They're using their phones. They're calling people. They're trying to make deals all day long. What are the chances that the house that you see that you think is not that bad hasn't already been seen by maybe 100 investors? Well, maybe it has, and maybe all 100 of them said, you know what, I can't make any money at this. This doesn't make any sense. I don't want to have anything to do with it. And so now you're left holding the house that is the worst house ever because the investor class already passed over it. So that's an issue. Second issue is, does it make more sense? I mean, and this is something that you can go either way on, but I always look at it like this. Let's say that there's a home for sale and it's perfect. It has everything. It's already been remodeled to where you would really like it. And let's say it's $5,000 too expensive. Okay. And you can get a 30-year fixed mortgage at 3%. Okay. Contrast that with the house that needs everything. It's already still priced too high. Okay. And you need to redo the bathrooms, the kitchen, the flooring, the roof, all these things. Which makes more sense? Well, I mean, if you're not into fixing up a house, okay, and you have no idea what you're doing, you have no idea what's behind the walls, you have no design capability whatsoever, you don't understand permitting or anything like that, why are you going to pretend to be an expert in that field and then decide to go and buy a house? And now you have to find all this cash, okay, that's not on credit, all this cash to fix this house up when you could just pay literally $5,000 more on a 30-year mortgage and you're good to go. You don't have any of the trouble. You don't have any of the issues. Gosh, to me, it seems to make more sense to spend the 5,000 and just be done with it. Now, this is me at 44. Would it be me at 23, 24? No, I fixed and flip houses when I was 23 and 24. And maybe that gives me the advantage of knowing that it's better to just buy a house that's done. This is where I'm at right now. Can I change tomorrow? Yes, I might. I might change. Just something I wanted you to go over. I just wanted you to understand, like, hey, maybe it doesn't make sense to buy a fix and flip. Or maybe it doesn't make any sense to buy a fixer upper. Maybe it's better that you bought a house that's already done. And that's just me. So let's go over one more article. I won't spend a lot of time on it, but it is kind of fascinating. In our business, we look to read the tea leaves, like the tea leaves being, forecast what's going to happen in the future. Now, we're never right, and we never know for certain what's going to happen, but we look for things. And so this article, new mortgages fall, sparking fears of market slowdown. Well, let's see. So let's deconstruct this title. New mortgages fall. So are we talking about applications? I don't know. We'll have to look. Sparking fears of a market slowdown. Well, is it seasonal? Because we're literally in the Christmas slow season right now. And then is a slowdown bad? And then is it bad for who? Sellers or buyers or both? Because buyers are getting murdered out there. Significant drop in mortgage origination for the second consecutive quarter has industry insiders worries as borrowers appear to be shying away from both refinance and new purchase lending in what's traditionally a peak season. It's not for me. After dropping 3% in the second quarter, they fell an alarming 8% in the third quarter. This is the first time in more than 2 years the industry has seen consecutive quarterly decreases, and this marks the largest single quarter drop in a year. Well, that sounds like something. That sounds like a problem. It was also the first time in 2 decades that mortgages have fallen in both Q2 and Q3 during a single year, which are usually most popular times to buy a house. So what I was saying is, let's make a change. I'll say I was wrong. We're in December right now. It's slow, but Q3 probably ended before December. Probably ended in September. I'm guessing. I don't want to do the math right now, but I'm just saying that's probably where we're probably in Q4 right now, and so. Anyway, it's still too early to say if the trends point to major shifts in lending patterns or the broader housing market boom. But the drop-off is significant, especially for home buying, which could suggest an impending market slowdown. I'm not upset about that. I'm not. The market cannot go like it's been going and be healthy. New borrows dissipate. It says perhaps most dramatic was the drop-off in new purchase loans. Okay. While refinance loans have declined 13%, that was in line with a 15% decline in Q2. This shows that many savvy homeowners have already taken advantage of staggeringly low interest rates. But at the same time, look, they fought and bought houses that were ridiculous, so they're paying more for their cheap mortgage. New mortgage originations were actually up significantly over Q1 and a 52% increase over the second quarter of last year. In Q3, new mortgage actually fell 2% from last quarter, still up 17% from Q3 of 2020, but a dramatic reversal of trends. So far this year is a red-hot market for homes as consumers scrambling for loans. I disagree with that characterization. This fellow added that the second consecutive quarter with a drop in refinances seemed to confirm many analysts, I don't care about the analysts' conclusions, that homeowners no longer have the voracious appetite they did in early 2020 to lower their rate, even though that remains uncertain. We will be watching the leading lending trends extra closely in a couple months. If it's your job to watch the trends, I would hope that you watch them extra closely every month. And I don't understand why you would change now. It says the numbers, the total dollar volume of loans also fell this quarter, down 6% from last quarter to 1.15 trillion. A lot of money in a quarter. Refinances also shrank as overall proportion of loans down 55% from 59% last quarter. The number of home equity loans were up overall 2% this quarter, after rising more than 17% last quarter. This is the first time since 2019 the industry has seen 2 consecutive quarterly increases in home equity originations. Well, what do we make about that? Refinances also shrank. Well, okay. Maybe everybody's refinanced already. And then home equity loans, I've never been a big fan of those unless you're trying to pay off credit card debt, but then you're already in a problem. So, um, dicey. The median down payment continued to rise, reaching another high point dating back to 2005. Borrowers put an average of $27,000 down on their home, up almost 6% from last quarter and 41% over Q3 2020. Well, if house prices go up, your down payment's going to go up. That's not rocket science. That's just me sitting here in my basement, my studio, saying, "Hey, this isn't a surprise at all." I mean, really, not a big deal. You're going to have higher down payments when you have higher prices. They should say the median down payment continued to rise along with average home sale price. It's just me. Well, what do you think? What's going on with you today? Do you you think I'm right? You think I'm wrong? I mean, I don't know. I don't have the answer. I think where I'm at, maybe this is pragmatism. Look, if you want to buy a home, okay, we work within the marketplace we're in to buy a home. If you want to sell a home, we work within that marketplace to sell your home. Things are going to go really well for buyers sometimes. Things are going to go really well for sellers other times. Okay. Things are going to be balanced. What if we were just in a balanced market? That'd be nice. That means there's probably about 6 months of inventory. That's balanced. Do you feel like, I mean, at 44 years old, I mean, I've seen ups and downs, really dramatic. Do you think we need to have that, or could we just have a balanced market for years and years and years and years? I mean, would that be okay? I'd be okay with that myself. I hate the idea, like, we're in an asset bubble. There's no question that it's happening. We know who did it. We know who did it. The politicians, you know, and the Fed have definitely created a bubble. And they're doing that to hide, you know, what's otherwise terrible situations in there, you know, that they've created as well. So, you know, I don't think it's so bad if housing slows down. I know my business was off terribly this year when everything was going gangbusters compared to the year before. The year before I did really well. This year, not so much. And you know, maybe that's why I don't. Well, it's definitely why I don't. If things get slower for me, I'll do better. Like in the market, I'll do better because the people that I'm working with right now that can't get their hands on a home will be able to get a home. So that means they'll sell their homes and things will be better. So for me, things slow down, I'm going to be in better shape. Now, for other people, you know, maybe they won't be. We don't know. We have no idea. So if you have any questions, you know, put them in the chat. If you watch this after hours, after I'm gone, you know, put it in the comment section and I will get back to you. If you have any thoughts that are different than mine, if you want to fight, my thinking, welcome to do that. I'm pretty open-minded, so I'd be interested to see what you had to say about these things. But you know, it is what it is. I'm going to cut out. It's a little bit early today, but there's literally I'm the only one here, so I don't think anybody's gonna ding me. And I might even make it longer because I can see the clock in the top of my screen. But I don't know. I wouldn't worry about trying to predict the future is just always dicey. And I know that in a way, you know, we justify our actions by saying we use data and things of that nature, but we really don't. We really don't. It's an emotional decision to buy a house. If you buy a house and the rates are high, you can always refinance when the rates change because they will change. When the rates change, and it helps the buyers or it helps the sellers, you're still going to be okay because you're looking at it to buy a house for like 5 years. So you're not really going to be stuck with this, the market's really hot or the market's not hot. You're going to be in a good shape. And so basically that's all I had to go over today. I just wanted to explain, if you are looking, it's okay. And we are in a hot market and you may pay more, but at the same time, it may work out for you great 20 years from now. You just never really know. So this is an article of caution. You're going to see more articles of caution. We've seen articles the entire time, going one way or the other. And we're going to continue. There's a lot more people that can write about real estate than that, and really face no consequence for their predictions. So might as well. I wouldn't be surprised if you see the same writer write one day that it's the market's going to be great, and the next day say that's going to be terrible. Just how it is. Okay, I've talked enough. Everybody have a great day. I hope you make it yours, and I will